I have most of my money in returnable soda bottles. You get 10 cents back on every single one of them. Now, that's not, you figure that's like 10 cents, that's like 10% on your money.
It's pretty phenomenal.
Not per year, any time you want it.
It's a 24-hour, 24. The exchange never goes away.
You see where I'm going? And it is
it's
liquid.
Called liquidity.
It is called liquid, and it is liquid
Yeah.
assets. You're right.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. You see how much I've been here not even 3 minutes, and you look how much we've learned.
The Todd Shapiro Show, Canada Laughs, SiriusXM 168.
Thank you.
John O'Hurley joins us. Thank you, sir.
Nice to be with you.
Thanks for making time. Glen Foster, a very famous Canadian comedian. That Canadian guy is known as, we rotate through co-hosts here on the program as...
and comedians, too, in Canada. Yeah. You hand that title goes with... That's a rotating title.
It's a pretty dumb title to be in Canada. It worked when I was in Britain, but in Canada it's rather useless because, everyone is that Canadian guy.
And Nigeria, you can't beat it.
Right.
When you are the top comedian in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, you can
you go anywhere. Anywhere with that title.
That's right.
Well, it's nice to know I'm a place that hands out titles easily.
That's what we do here. We're a very nice country.
There's internet scammers from Nigeria using my name, probably.
Really?
That's how it works.
Please.
Yeah, have you ever, those emails come in like, Prince Mohammed and you give him money?
I send every one of them to my investment guy and say, I think we've got something here. and he replies to me, I promise you I will give this all the attention it deserves.
I like to string them along.
If I'm your investment guy, though, John, what I do is I go, it's a great idea. Send me the money. I'll make the thing happen. Yes. And then I just get my fees, and I know you lose all your money anyway.
Oh, it does. So the expectations are so small. Actually, I have most of my money in returnable soda bottles. You get 10 cents back on every single one of them. Now, that's not, you figure that's like 10 cents, that's like 10% on your money.
It's pretty phenomenal.
Not per year, any time you want it.
It's a 24-hour, 24. The exchange never goes away.
You see where I'm going? And it is
liquid.
It's called liquidity. It is called liquid, and it is liquid assets. You're right.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. You see how much I've been here not even 3 minutes, and you look how much we've learned.
The liquid assets, awesome.
There
took me a second.
You don't know this.
There are people right now that have pulled over on the side of the road to grab a pencil and paper just to sit down and take notes right now.
Your voice is one of those reasons. Isn't it amazing? You're being so synonymous with just a voice and a way of talking, an inflection and a tone. Is that I have to ask? Is this just you all the time? Because it's so great. It's so friendly.
It is pretty much.
Yeah. Do you ever get you have kids, right?
Well, and a wife, and so I roll over in the morning, and I have this beautiful blonde scratch golfer for a wife, and I say, "Okay, honey, what say we get jiggy with it?"
I want to marry you.
Doesn't that just make you go, ooh, wake up and love me?
I now know why she goes golfing so much, but if you're mad at your children, I have a little boy, so it's different. You don't raise your voice yet. My guy's only 2.5, but how could you reprimand them being like this?
Well, all I have to say is I use my voice around the house, and we have a big kind of cavernous place back home. And all I have to do is say, well, and the world stops.
That's it. He knows.
He knows.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I also want to use my dad now, too.
Daddy. Daddy, don't raise your voice. Don't raise your voice.
How old's your kid?
That's a good question. He's 11 years old.
Wow.
He's at that stage in life where, as Mark Twain once said, he knows a multitude of things that are mostly wrong. But every phrase ends with, Daddy, trust me on this.
He's that confident with conviction.
Trust me on this.
So just like your broker.
That's exactly right. That's right. Returnable soda bottles.
Liquidity.
You don't know this, but beer bottles can be returned here too, and wine bottles, and it all has to go through the LCBO. You trot off with your beer bottles, wine bottles, etc. 20 cents, I think.
Is it 20 cents?
20 cents for wine bottles.
Is that why people are rumbaging through my recycling bins? Okay.
Yes.
They're ripping them right out of your hands. That sparkling muscatel that you
only the high end wines
you polished off at noon.
On recycling night, when the blue bins are out, there are people who drive around and fish through all the bins and find the recyclable bottle, the returnable
raccoons
bottles.
are the best at it, though.
They're really good. They're really good. They have the
very rich in this city. We got gorgeous homes, cavernous home as well.
Yeah, that's right. You thought they were known for their pelts. Not anymore.
I have to ask you, a later father in life. How old? 11 years old. I'm impressed.
He's 11 years old. Yeah. Well, yeah. It took me a while to find a woman that would drop her standards low enough to have children with me. But I had two options in my life. Either I would have children or I wouldn't. And I was happy with both of them. And I said until I found the right person, I wasn't going to have children.
I love it.
I should not be somebody who's procreating a lot.
Oh, come on.
It's an odd mind up there. You know what I mean?
Well, the truth is, I feel like the best people aren't procreating enough. They're too busy sort of working on themselves and evolving.
You're looking at me with that lingering eye.
Yeah, well,
it's not going to happen between us. You know that. Just biology is going to prevent this.
Hey, technology can take over, right? I saw some movies like that.
That's right.
John O'Hurley's hanging out with us in town, and you come to Toronto a lot, actually.
I'm up here quite a bit. I'm up here this weekend, or actually this week, because I'm doing my one-man entertainment memoir show Thursday and Friday.
A Man with Standards.
A Man with Standards.
manwithstandards.com for all the information. And a huge hit in New York. You brought it here for Toronto, but only for a couple of nights, right?
It's just for 2 nights right now. We're going to move it across Canada with just the idea of kind of having some fun with it. It's a fun... No one has ever seen a show like this. It was nominated for Best Show in New York, but it's a memoir show of being a kid growing up in the 50s and the 60s. So it's the stories of my life that are set to the music of the period, the Sinatra, the Henry Mancini's Moon River. And so all of this wonderful music had such a poignant place in my life. And so I tell the stories that are very funny, they're very poignant, and as I say, I promise laughter, I promise great music, but only one tear. Here's the best part about it, it's a supper club. So when you come there, it's just like the old Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra
Rat
supper
Pack
club.
days.
Yeah. At the Aperture Room there on Yonge Street, 340 Yonge Street. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And, okay, that's good. And I mean, I won't give out all the price information and stuff, but just go to manwithstandards.com and go and check this out.
Yeah, don't give out the price because you can't possibly afford this.
But there's valet parking. That's what I like about it.
But but this is the thing.
That's the old school way.
No, but this is the thing I'm dying about Toronto is everybody's going, wow, you got valet parking. I'm going, is it really that bad around here where the valet parking means that everybody has remarked about the fact that I'm doing a show here, a supper club, and it has valet parking. Never mind the show or what I've spent my entire career doing. It's an event that we can go to, bring our wives to, eat, and we have valet parking. It's a complete night.
So he worked on Seinfeld. Big deal. We got the valet parking.
We got the valet parking.
That's so exciting. Do you tell some celeb stories? I mean,
I do. I talk about dancing, the beginnings of Dancing with the Stars, and I talk about the night at 2:30 in the morning when I sang to Sinatra in his living room, and it is one of the funniest and stupidest things I've ever done in my life. And I have some fabulous stories, and they just they're uniquely mine. I get on with the ship so many times, but I began at the age of 3. When people say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said to myself back then, I go, well, I'm soiling 6 diapers a day. I don't really know if I have a concrete career objective for you there, but I would point to the black and white TV in the corner of the room, and I would say, well, I am an actor, so that's what I'm going to be. But it was with that sense of disgust that only a 3-year-old can muster. I knew at the age of 3 what I was going to do with my life. There was no question about it. I knew it. So for me, it's been about connecting the dots, constantly connecting the dots. And at my age right now, I wake up every morning still trying to stay relevant.
Good for you, man. I mean, that there's so much to consume these days, so, harder than ever. It's nice to have a resume behind you and obviously a very known face and voice. But I love hard work because that's the thing I think that people don't realize with people's success later on in the careers. The hard work never ends, does it?
No, it doesn't. And you can't rest on, people always say I can rest on my laurels. You can't. There are no laurels to rest on, especially today, because it is such a whimsical world out there, especially in entertainment, where the pie is no longer 3 slices. The pie is 1,000,000 slices and growing exponentially every day to the point where it's not even a pie anymore. It's somebody else's, ring dings are over there on the side or something. The pie is gone. It's moved over. So there's a pie, but there's also so many other things that are going on.
Somebody moved my cheese.
And somebody moved my cheese. And it is but it's fascinating that entertainment has taken on so many faces now that you can't rely on those ABC, NBC, CBS anymore.
And not to sound like an elitist or
go ahead. I made a career of it.
That's fair enough.
In fact, I cornered the market on arrogance and pomposity. So
you played the character very well, a parody of yourself, I would imagine. Or maybe John's just a big jerk in real life.
Bingo.
Do you ever look at sort of like whether it's a YouTube celebrity or someone who just goes viral for no reason and question what is entertainment anymore? Meaning, is it good? Is it like you have an 11-year-old now? Are they seeing stuff that is actually going to benefit them in any ways? We talk about Seinfeld.
That is probably in all of the interviews I have done today, the number one question, and that you win an award for that. That is maybe the best question I've had, and here's my answer to that. We're in a position in our lives right now where we are celebrating people who want to be famous. That's it. That's all they want to be. They just want to be famous. They want to comment on things that other people are doing that are trying to be famous. We are not celebrating talent anymore. We are celebrating the aspirations of talent. And that's a dangerous area to be in because everybody is commenting on the commenters who are commenting. And those are the famous people, are the commenters. It's like we're not doing original music anymore. We're doing people who do mixes of the original music. And we're paying them the tens of millions of dollars a year to go to a nightclub in Vegas and get people that are willing to max out their credit cards to buy a $4,000 bottle of vodka and have written absolutely no music of their own. All they did was just mix music together. So I say that's the state of entertainment right now. It's not a good statement because we are not supporting talent. We are supporting aspiring to be famous, and that's a dangerous area.
And a lot of the time, it's people who are the loudest voices in the room, which scares me. It's like you see it, the loudest voices in the rooms.
What are you saying? What is it you're saying over there?
No.
You piped in at the right time. and I even look at it with things like, whether it be, LeVar Ball or Donald Trump, or you see like the loudest voices of the rooms or, on Twitter or whatever. They're the one. And I don't know how that's not only is it not celebrating, I think exactly what you're saying, talent, but we're also now celebrating negativity a lot of the time. And that's dangerous to me.
And it is. And reality television is anything but that. It's not real at all. All it is taking things that are normal life and turning them into mean-spirited competitions. I don't like The Bachelor. I don't like The Bachelorette. I think they are anti-functions in life, and yet they gather large audiences. What I do like is I like Dancing with the Stars. I like some of the vocal shows, the shows that they celebrate talent, people trying to be better than they are with a God-given talent, and they're working hard to develop it. And I'll go back to Dancing with the Stars. I think there is something that deserves to be blessed with permanence, and I'm glad I was part of the original part of it. Mostly because I got to off Evander Holyfield in the first round.
How great is that? When else can you do that?
I took him out in the third round with my foxtrot, actually. So Champ went down. But it celebrates talent, this aspiration to be better than you are at a given skill, an artistic talent. But too much of television today. Anyway, I'm on a rant. We should.
Yet at the same time, though, everything is a contest now. Every show, so many comedy shows now are like Battle of the Comics, like Battle of the Bands.
We got SiriusXM's top comic, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
You can win $25,000 if you're not.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least we're trying to give back to the Canadian comic community, right?
Yes.
Which not a lot do support. And by the way, we get into this sort of long-form
Listen,
conversations
I love
here.
comedy competitions. Yeah, sure. Why not? You're celebrated. Comedy is an enormous talent. I mean, we're all bozos on the bus, and some of us are court jesters, and it's like, that's the way it goes. And that's what you chose in life. But it should be celebrated because it's a very difficult, the art of comedy is a very difficult one.
John O'Hurley's with us, and we have Glen Foster co-hosting today. Now, John, speaking of comedy, I know you host a lot, and you're always present, and you're presenting, and do you actually do stand-up comedy?
I do. I do a lot of corporate stuff. I do it kind of at a higher end because you know what? You can move the decimal point over. I don't do comedy clubs, but I don't do comedy clubs. That's not my crowd. I mean, if I walked into a college group or stuff like that, they're going to say, "Who the hell is that guy with the white hair?" I have no idea. But I'll go to I'll go to Vegas to do an event out there at a corporation or something like that, and I'm actually pretty funny. And also the things that I do, I have a different style of comedy. And this is why I like my show, because I'm a storyteller. I like people. I want to grab people for 90 minutes, sit down, and I want to tell them stories. And I want the stories to last for 10 minutes. And at one point in the show, they may repeat, and I may draw something from an earlier story that I brought, and it makes people laugh just as hard. So it's the art of storytelling that I am good at. I'm not a one-joke person.
I love it.
I can do the one jokes, but I'm not in favor of them.
A Man with Standards happening in Toronto tomorrow night and Friday night at manwithstandards.com for all your ticket information. That's what we love to do on the program, and not necessarily storytelling, but long-form conversation.
That's the beauty of radio, isn't it? This is why you're in radio and not television. And I'll bet if you went to television, you'd find it very confining. Because you get 2 or 3 minutes.
I love the fact that without knowing me, you already know me. When I went to TV and radio school, right away I always thought, because I'm so beautiful, I would end up on TV. It was just a given. I mean, look how gorgeous. I'm so irresistible, right? And within literally taking 3 classes of the television stuff, my stream was radio right away.
I look forward to doing in-studio interviews when I'm on doing a radio tour for anything. I have more fun because we can take an idea, any idea, and spread it out over 5-10 minutes and let it just develop as it does organically with a bunch of cheap people here, that especially some that are trying to move cheese. And but it's a wonderful organic thing. It's almost it's the closest thing to what I would call the art of the infinite possibility, as opposed to a television show where if I was sitting here going, well, thank you very much, John. We only have 2 minutes here. Thank you very much. We're moving on to guess what's in the avocado today. And so we've stuffed an avocado with yet something else today, and we're going to get that because John was not that interesting.
With that being said, Blair, write that down. That sounds like a good game. I like that idea.
What's in our avocado today?
By the way, and keep that sound clip because now it looks like John O'Hurley voiced the game for us.
What's in our avocado?
It's like the Fred Willard. Hey, what happened? We've got this new thing. What's in the avocado? Well, it's so nice to have you in town, John. I don't know how much time you have, and I got to ask you about Seinfeld. I'm sure that's just a regular thing that always comes up, and you've done it.
And I love talking about it. I never gets tired of it. It's just,
So maybe relating it back to now the younger audiences in a positive way. Do you get some kids or teenagers going, "Wow, Jay Peterman"?
Oh no! Oh, it's huge.
I love to hear that.
It is. Every generation rediscovers Seinfeld. I go back to my alma mater, Providence College, and the president of the college says, I watch every year to see where it is on the barometer. He says, every year it is still appointment television, and the kids all get together in the dorms to watch Seinfeld. It's just it's blessed with that type of permanence. I have, in Australia, I still do, I'm the spokesman for McDonald's in Australia because of Jay Peterman. And by the way, you can say things down there that you can't say in the States. I do a thing with for the quarter pounder, and it basically ends with this: you look like more of a man with a quarter pounder in your hand. You can't say that in the United States.
No.
You'd be off the air.
Oh, for sure. I'm even worried you said it right now. No.
You look like more of a man with a quarter pounder in your hand.
I might. But they don't use kangaroo meat, right?
I don't know. I can't vouch for that. I really can't.
Well, that's nice.
Has a bit of a tang to it.
Does
I don't know. Maybe it
jumps around in your stomach author. I'm really happy to hear that you get that from younger generations, because everyone, I think, Glenn, do you have a Seinfeld memory, or just like a reason why Seinfeld meant something to you?
I like George. George was my favorite guy because he was just trying to do, he was like the big scammer guy. He was kind of like Jackie Gleason in a way.
He was trying to screw his way to the middle.
Yes.
You know what I mean? George never tried to be great. He never wanted to be. He always wanted to be. An architect is enough. That's right. He never wanted to be any better than that. It's like that was enough. He just wanted to be swinging on the middle rung of the ladder of life.
But a shortcut guy.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Rich,
I don't have to be this.
Quick
I just
scheme.
have to be this.
Yeah.
And then when he had the Frogger episode, which was probably one of my favorite episodes, because he said, this Frogger score on the machine was the most important thing that was ever going to happen to him. And he looks at Jerry and he goes, Jerry, I'm never going to have any kids. This is all I have. I mean, you think about that, and it was such a wonderfully, darkly comedic moment where he said, this is my act of desperation, is I've got a Frogger score in a pizza parlor, and that's it. That's all my legacy is.
His
That's my
accomplishment is
entire
made.
life. This is it.
My favorite episode, in fact, is the one where George does everything the opposite.
Oh, the opposite.
The opposite,
Yes,
yeah.
No.
I love when you sort of go on the rabbit hole of Seinfeld. You end up having about 100 favorite episodes.
You do. It's funny. And every time I think I've seen them all, even though I think I was on like a third of them, but I still, every now and then there's one that sneaks past me and I go, I didn't see that. I didn't see that before. So, and the funny thing is I never watched it first run.
You didn't?
Oh, no. I don't watch myself because I'm not entertainment to myself. And I also hated the way Seinfeld was edited, because we were always so long that they would have to strip it, and it always had the J. Peterman monologue. We had this 2-minute monologue that I, worked, and, every bit of it was on the floor. Never saw it. And it just got so frustrating. I said, it's much better if I just remember the way that I did it rather than the way it ended up, because it was just frustrated.
Well, and that's the artistry you're talking about.
But and that's the way I've been in everything. I never watch anything. I don't watch movies I do. I don't watch TV that I do. I remember it as theater. It was the way I did it that night that is indelled in my memory, and that's the nice part about it.
Do you stay in touch with the gang?
That being said, if you'd like, I will give you a monologue that was cut from the show. And it was my favorite. And it was in the Friars Club episode when Rob Schneider played my hard-of-hearing assistant. And I thought that he and Elaine were having a little tete-a-tete on office time. And so, upon seeing them in the men's room together, I decided I was going to play Cupid. So I get 2 tickets to the Karamazov Brothers Circus, and I slap them down on her desk, and I tell her she and Bob can knock off a little early to get ready tonight. And she looks at me as though I've grown a second head. And she said, Bob? And this was the monologue that was cut. I said, Elaine, don't worry. I, too, am no stranger to love on the clock. As a young lad, my father apprenticed me to a honey factory in Belize. The chief beekeeper was this horrible hag of a woman with gnarled teeth and a giant wart that she called a nose. Ooh, she was not attractive even by backwoods standards. But love is truly blind, Elaine. And as the days went on, working closer and closer together, that sweet smell of honey in the air, I knew I had to have that horrible creature. And I did. So you and Bob have a good time tonight.
We got to end it here, I think. Does it get better than that? John O'Hurley. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Honestly, legendary stuff. I feel I'm very honored. Yes.
I have news here.
Breaking
news. My
news.
producer has just handed me a note. Tomorrow, Thursday night, we have a few tickets left.
Oh, good.
We have a few tickets left. Friday night is sold out. Is that true?
Right. So we just got a few tickets for Thursday. So
Few
you didn't
tickets left for
even.
Thursday.
Hey, John.
I want to thank a big thanks to Bill Howe for being one of the great producers of this, and also Raymond James. They did such a great job in making sure that this happened. So I have to give them a shout out like that. But yeah, that's funny that we are sold out for Friday night, and I had plans for Friday night. Are you sure?
Well, I was going to say,
I guess I've got to do the show
with all these tickets.
Well, I'll
sold-
come for the dinner anyway. That's a nice thing. That's the
Valet
least I
parking.
can do.
The valet parking.
Come for the valet parking. Yeah, the show is. We're throwing in the show. We're throwing in dinner, but come for the valet parking. AmanWithStandards.com.
You didn't even need to do this. It's sold out. Thank you.
I know.
Totally could have been chilling in your hotel room.
I could have been. That's right.
I'm very grateful. Thank
I
you
could
for.
have Skyped this in, couldn't I?
We would have taken it.
Hey, what a fun time to spend some time with you. You're a great show here. That's a lot of
Cheers.
fun.
Honestly, much appreciated. It's like I'm sort of emotional. Really, I was a young
No, I'm here to hold you.
Can we get jiggy with it then?
That's right. Remember, we are juju on that beat.
John O'Hurley at I'm John O'Hurley. Make sure to follow him if you don't. And you get a little political and stuff. You ever read your tweets? You get a little.
I do.
Yeah,
I
you
do.
get
You know what? That's you know what? People believe different things. Run with
Yes. Deal with it and have a conversation about it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time. Good luck with the show here in Toronto. You don't need it. It's basically sold out at manwithstandards.com. We hope you bring it back.
Oh, there's a
for
couple
some
left. Couple left. And you know what? I'll add a table. We'll add a table. I'll build a table. Tomorrow I'll buy a tablecloth. We'll add a table. We're gonna.
Well, I think I got to get a babysitter because I want to try and get out serious.
The Todd Shapiro Show. Canada Laughs. SiriusXM 168.